My father, Samuel Brown, was born on July 1st, 1889. He lived to the ripe old age of 92 years old and died in 1981. He was born in England, and then when he was tiny, the family moved to Northern Ireland, which is right across the straits between England and Ireland. And they settled in a town called Dromora, which is in County Down, Northern Ireland. And he had an older brother, Jim, who immigrated also to the United States and settled in Providence, Rhode Island. And he had a sister, Georgina, who remained in Ireland and ran the farm. They had a farm, and unfortunately when she was a teenager she got some kind of a disease and she became blind and was for the rest of her life, but ran the farm and everything else. That was the family. My father immigrated to Boston. The best we can tell, he came directly to Boston and didn't go through Ellis Island in New York, where most of the immigrants came through. He came when he was the age of 14, and when he came to Boston, he worked on a lot of construction projects in those days, one of them being Fenway Park. And then he traveled around doing other jobs. And he served in the Navy during World War I on various ships. And I'm not sure just what year he was discharged, but he was very proud of the fact that he was a veteran. He was a very active member in the American Legion, and he marched in every Memorial Day parade until he was in his 80s, and he loved every minute of it.
We're celebrating life. Those are all my Irish.
He came to live in a section of Boston called Mattapan, which is right adjacent to Hyde Park, where we live. And he worked in the Charleston and Hollingsworth paper mill, which was right in Hyde Park, a very large paper mill that made book paper. And he worked there as a millwright, and that is where he met my mother, and she soon became his wife. My grandfather ran the paper mill, and as part of the higher-ups were given housing, which was located directly across the street from the mill, and that's where I was born. We lived in one half of a very large duplex, and that's where we lived. And my father, when he was working there, but we did stay in Hyde Park, and we moved into our own home, again, just up across the street from the paper mill. And my father lived there till the day he died. So, my father married Catherine Coughlin when he worked in the paper mill, and they had 3 children, one of which is me, Kelsey's grandfather. Plus, we had my brother Jim and my brother Sam. We lived in Hyde Park all through our school years, and my mother passed away in 1952. My father then went to work at the Watertown Arsenal in Watertown, Massachusetts, just on the other side of Boston, as a carpenter. And he worked there for 40 years, becoming the chief carpenter. And during World War II, he worked every day at the Watertown Arsenal and then every night at Raleigh's shipyard in Dorchester, building landing craft. That was during the whole war. Just a note, my brother Jim also worked at the Watertown Arsenal, and he worked there for 40 years also. Kelsey's great-grandfather was a very humble man and lived a simple life and didn't want to be a bother to anyone, even in his old age. One of the things we always remember is the city of Boston had a program to deliver food to people living alone. It was called Meals on Wheels. And we always laugh because they would deliver the meal, he would take the meal, walk through the house to the back door, go outside and give the food to a group of black cats that he adopted. The Irish way to say black cat is an catú, which is a song by one of Ireland's biggest exports, the band U2. In 1958, I married my wife, Colleen, and we had 2 children, David and Paul, who is Kelsey's father, and we also have a grandson, Liam.